Welcome everybody. This is Tech After 40, episode 4. I'm Leo Fleischman.
And I'm Peter Lyons.
Welcome everybody. And today we wanted to talk about the Metaverse. First of all, what is the Metaverse? I think that the Metaverse it's like a digital place in that it's separating the digital world and the real world and it's like making it real, like making it one place. For example, if you put some goggles and you actually you feel physically in a place that that it's digital, you are going to able to do more things that you do every day in your life. For example, work, or how you look, or how you buy things, or even things you purchase. Like you need even clothing. You need how it works if you live like in a fantasy world.
I would say the metaverse is I would have a broader definition of that to say that actually, the moment humans invented any kind of digital technology, that was when we opened a small door to the metaverse. And that door has been widening. I think that, people walking around the streets of Manhattan with their eyes on their screens, their headphones on, those people are in the metaverse. They happen to be walking through the East Village or Central Park, but they're not really mentally. Where are they? Where's their brain? And I would say the metaverse it's like art. It's sort of like it's not about the artifact or the technology itself. It's the effect that it has within your mind. And I think technology can help with connecting people, but I think it can also really make people not present in the grounded reality of now.
Yes, but what is to be present? If like now because of COVID we had like many meetings like virtually, and my old boss he was like, let's do this, let's buy this Quest, this Oculus goggles from Facebook, and let's do the meetings in the metaverse, whatever. So we put them on, and then we had this realm, let's call it, in where we used to meet in a house in a beach,
Mm.
in next to the ocean, and we could fly and write in the air. It's like if you have an idea, you take a pencil or whatever, and you're like, yeah, and you're like writing right away.
Yeah.
It was fun, but after 30 minutes was very confusing.
Well, it's disorienting, I think, for our brain, our bodies, to process an entirely artificial reality. I think you see the body kind of rejects that to some extent, especially with VR. The response of like the inner ear and the sort of disequilibrium, this sensation of like motion sickness, all of that. I think to me it says that either VR has to make some incredible leaps and bounds in terms of being human ready, right? Or maybe the best option is not putting two little screens right in front of our eyes and trying to trick our brain through our eyes. Maybe ultimately there's another way to do it that involves a more sort of direct route into the parts of the brain that need to process this, because the eyes, the ears, those things are not designed to process artificial inputs.
Yeah, totally. I was
staring
thinking
at a
about it.
screen all day, for example.
Yeah, and it's a problem. I mean, it's not really a problem. It's like you can definitely, close the computer. It's fine. Your eyes will be fine. But I mean, if we want to keep doing it, and I mean, the best solution is like to bring the metaverse to you. It's like don't put it in front of your eyes. Just create like I don't know, like holographic scene, and convert the whole room into the metaverse. Uh, in my opinion, that will be even better, because we even if they do it with goggles and it's incredible, it's not gonna be that good because your brain it's not going to be tricked
Yeah,
by it,
yeah, and
because
unless
you're gonna feel the weight of the goggles in your head.
you'll be
And
sweating.
yes,
Yeah,
and after 30, 40 minutes your eyes are going to be like, man, I have a screen in front of my eyes.
yeah, and your eyes are gonna hurt, and your head's gonna hurt, and you're gonna feel like you want to throw up. Um, you know, honestly, whenever I see like a photo of like some, political figure or some, captain of industry wearing VR goggles, I always think of that famous photo from the early 2000s of George W. Bush visiting the troops in Iraq with the
With the goggles
binoculars,
on the opposite side.
with the lens caps on.
Yeah,
It looks so uncool to me.
yeah,
It just looks
yeah,
like, come on, man,
yeah.
you've literally covered
That's
your
the best
eyes.
we can do. Like 2022, you have the best minds thinking about it.
It's like we're just gonna cover our eyes and
Yeah,
you know
you're in another world.
you're in another
No, I'm
world.
not.
But
But
don't move too much because you could put a hole in the wall, or fall off of a curb or something like that.
yeah, but okay. Let's think about it. Let's think that the technology is there. It's awesome. The body, we cannot, we cannot say that it's not real. It's amazing. It works fantastic. What can the metaverse do for us, but in a good way?
I would say the original metaverse is the space where this, right? I think how we experience reality is not static, right? I think reality. There's many states of consciousness. I think that um, are much more conducive to human flourishing, right, and human health. And I think as a civilization, being drawn into these sort of like these little blinders, like horses. I don't think that's going to be the place where humans really flourish. I think what we need to do is look at those experiences and look at that technology, but just also remember that, just taking a moment to be present, maybe meditate, listen to music, uh, dance, whatever it is that like gets people into that place. I think that that's ultimately worth so much more than a completely contrived, you know, 3D experience. Now, maybe I just haven't seen the top of the line in terms of the VR hardware or the use cases. I mean, one thing I always thought, if we're going to actually like, what can we do in VR that we cannot do in practical terms in the real world? Well, one thing is if you're separated by a great distance from folks, gives you a way to sort of interact more than just by talking or like, scratching on a whiteboard in Zoom or something like that. But, I still think that we have to look at this technology as just a tool that can be used in certain use cases, but the way it's getting marketed, the way all of these tech companies are trying to push it is like, no, 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 that's actually that's our mission. Our goal we all want to be in the metaverse. We're all going to retreat into the metaverse. Well, what happens to our society? What happens to, like, you know, people, who sit inside all day? It becomes sort of like the Matrix, right? They're just at home. They're not getting up and going to buy a coffee. What happened to the coffee shops?
Yeah, but we're doing it today.
And I think COVID
Since
accelerated that.
COVID,
Yeah.
I'm in at home like all the time.
But I think that is a really dark dystopian vision for humanity.
But why? Because if you mean because of the B12 that we need the sun, that's fine. That's the only reason. The second reason that you mean is like because we are social animals.
We're social animals.
Yeah, but
and
we're like
society,
connecting. We're more connected today than ever
But connected to what?
to other people.
Are we though?
Yes.
Or are we? I mean, at some point,
The connection needs to be physical. It's like if you talk with somebody every day on the phone, you're not connected.
No, but I'm saying that the whole thing about the metaverse is at some point you don't really know what you're connecting to. Is it actually a person? Is it a mediated agent that's mediating some kind of like interaction?
I think that the future of the dream, okay, of the metaverse is like you connect something in your brain and you live a completely different reality, and you don't know if you are in that reality and it's the real reality or it's the fake one. I think that's the dream.
What I would be,
No limits. You can be whatever you want.
what would be interesting to me would be a device that is able to sort of activate various degrees or levels of consciousness as you move through the world, right? So almost like an augmentation or an enhancement, or if you want to feel this feeling of like profound, like appreciation for nature and for the world, you know,
It
maybe
feels
there's a
like a
switch for that.
drug.
Well, I
It
think
feels like a
it feels
drug.
like a drug, but I would say that drug, we've already been building a drug like that, you know, since casinos and since gambling and since Facebook, all of these are dopamine.
Yeah, so you mean to activate those parts in the brain, but without the bad parts for the body.
It's not about like just, the dopamine sort of quick fix, but maybe it's more about like maybe synchronizing kind of like if there's a lot of sort of chaos or a lot of like anxiety, maybe there's a way to sort of induce a more like thoughtful, relaxed.
Definitely. Once you're like touching the brain, I think like if we're gonna have the technology, you can do anything.
I mean, there's already
If the
examples.
brain thinks it's real, it's gonna be real, right?
There's already some science that has demonstrated treatments for depression actually involving the like magnetic induction or certain parts of the brain when experiencing an electromagnetic field can actually you know affect a change in the state. And I think I'd much rather sort of experience the world as in the right state of mind than experience a virtual world in a sort of like anxious or you know suspended belief
Don't
frame
you
of mind.
think it's like an old kind of, like an old way to think about things? Like it's a new technology, it's here already, it's gonna happen. I mean, my parents didn't want me to watch TV,
Yeah,
okay? Exactly like I don't want my daughter to watch iPad all day. But I mean, how bad it's gonna be to be in the metaverse?
but that's the thing. The metaverse will be commercialized,
Yeah,
and therefore the difference between you watching TV and your daughter watching YouTube is there is a supercomputer on the end of that, looking at everything that she's watched, everything that she might be interested to watch, and it's sort of like it's like now there's a machine, a supercomputer that's able to sort of like grab onto some digital version of you and is using that to sort of guide you around to what it wants to show you.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the
They
metaverse, imagine in the metaverse, it'll just be like
all the time.
all the time.
So
Your will mean nothing. You'll be presented with things that advertisers want you to see.
and you're not gonna be able to get out only if the batteries run out, or I don't know.
It'll be designed in
That's
such
it.
a way
Really.
to make you want to spend. Think of the unlimited scroll.
How many people will die?
Oh, they'll just
Dehydration.
yeah, they'll just put diapers on and
Really?
just stay there. You know,
Yeah.
honestly, I think there are. I mean, look at this culture. You see it in this shut-in culture that you see in places like Tokyo, for example, where young people just will not leave the house. You know, they'll spend the entire day. They'll spend weeks, you know, at home. And I think COVID has turned a lot of people that were maybe on the edge into people that would be, you know, they would plug right in to that world.
I heard that many people died gaming. You know, during games it's difficult because these games are really long today. It's like they don't really, there is no ending for these games. It's like an open world, so you can go wherever you want. There's no loading
Yeah.
times. There's just it's just you're just there. So the game is forever. As long as you are in front of the computer, you're playing. So these kids drinking energy drinks, which are poison, by the way, and you know they die in front of the computer. They stay. You know, the parents go out a weekend to wherever, and they stay the whole weekend playing. And after 3 days of not eating or drinking or whatever, they die. It
So,
happened.
so when we think about a like the Facebook vision of the metaverse, we can only imagine it's going to be mostly ad driven.
Ad driven.
But the question is, what sort of ads, the kind of information they're going to have. I mean, these the Facebook, what is it called? The not the Oculus, the
Quest.
yes. From what I understand, those have like cameras that are detecting sort of eye movement
Yeah.
and facial expressions.
Yeah.
They're going to have a complete sort of like digital composite of everything that this person sort of represents,
It's
right?
not only that. It's like these devices that we have today. It's like you're looking at them and they're not really looking at you. For example, when you read a book with um, what's
The Amazon
the
Kindle.
Amazon
Yeah.
Kindle. So that device is not reading you. It's not looking at you back for now.
Yeah.
But with the Oculus, it's like every time that you're looking at something, they're looking at you. So they know your reactions. And if they know if the pupils are
Yeah. Pupils
opening,
opening.
or it's like a lie detector right there.
They're like, oh, Leo likey. Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Like, let's put that in our
Yeah,
sort
exactly.
of
So
like
and
advertising database.
yeah, and that it's like, even if we go even deeper, they can actually understand if a person is gay or not,
Oh,
or
they don't need that to know. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, by your even no,
just
but I
by like
mean,
what you like and who
yeah,
your friends are, and
but I mean if you're like young enough and you don't even know,
yeah,
so
that's
they
the
will
thing.
know before you.
They already, I think, know more about people than those people maybe consciously know about
Yeah,
themselves.
remember that story? I don't even know if it's true. that uh, a girl that she was pregnant and she didn't know,
Mm.
and their parents were getting all the time advertisement about baby stuff all the time. And they were like, that's so weird. And then she came and she said that she's pregnant.
Now, what's interesting to me is now that Apple has basically like thrown down the gauntlet on these third-party tracking apps with its recent iOS update. I think back in April or May. Now you notice on Apple, anytime you open an app, since then it says, "Do you want to allow this app to track you?"
Yeah, of course not.
99% of people are
No,
like,
nope.
"No way."
Yeah,
But without that tracking, I mean, that's in Facebook's entire way of knowing and being able to show advertisers that their ads work. So you're on the Facebook app, you see something, you see a bunch of stuff, you leave the Facebook app, maybe then you go to like another app. Facebook is able to follow you
yeah. If
after
you're
you
allowed
leave
to
the app.
track them, yeah,
Right. And that's then how it's able to say, oh, we know that he went and opened his browser and went to the advertiser's webpage. We're going to take credit for that. That's an attribution, right?
yeah,
But without that, Facebook has really no way of like proving, because people are not necessarily transacting and buying things within the Facebook app. So Facebook needs eyes outside to kind of follow the people around and see like how they're are they modifying the behavior in the correct way. Advertisers now have no way to know like is what they're spending actually
yeah.
like
And
effective.
that's why Facebook stock went to shit.
Yeah.
But they have Instagram, and Instagram is doing really well with advertisement. And then you can even shop in Instagram. What is not doing well is doing, the first purpose of the app, which was to share pictures within friends. So people are getting super mad with Instagram right now, and they are even. I saw many videos of YouTubers actually talking about it and going away from Instagram to there's an app that it's not new, but I don't remember the name, and they're going there. I mean, at least the photographers and the
The
professional.
influencers.
No, I don't know if the influencers, but the photographer community, because they feel that people are not looking anymore at pictures or even people that you like, because the model of these feeds right now works in base of what they think you're gonna like, and not really
Or the
about.
audience that they think that you would fit into, and then they have an idea of what that sort of audience likes, like guys over 40 living in a certain zip code with a certain level of income
Yeah,
who like to visit, who spend a lot of time listening to podcasts or whatever. That's a certain kind of demographic that they're going to serve certain kinds of ads to, right? And I just think in a metaverse, especially like a metaverse that's a whole closed ecosystem dominated by a single company like Meta, right? That name change really
yeah.
tells you something. But there's no need for them to have third-party trackers or anything like that because everything that you do will be in that world. Are you going to go and buy something? You saw an ad, you're going to go and buy something. You're going to do it right in that same world. So they're creating this sort of like alternate kind of economy where they have all the data.
The thing about the metaverse is like, if Facebook is gonna lead the project, it's not gonna be well. It's not gonna be awesome, because these guys have so much negative publicity, right? I mean, if you talk about right now about someone about Facebook, it's all negative. It's
Yeah.
like they're taking my data, they are telling me garbage all the time. There are like, there are like many issues
Yeah,
with the.
they're creating these like bubbles of like, different identities and groups that become more and more divided, and these filter bubbles that increasingly divide people and friends and family, that you end up sort of filtered in a certain like Facebook bubble, and your best friend growing up gets filtered in another one. You meet to talk to this person and you're just like, what? Like, you can't, the things that they're saying have no like common frame of reference. If you hear somebody who supports like one political leader and you support another, you're hearing an entirely different
Oh, completely.
narrative of reality.
Let me tell you about that. My mom, I'm not gonna say what she, what party she likes, but imagine that she likes, I don't know, the Republicans, and every time,
Hypothetically, of course.
and yeah, and we are like talking all the time, and she's like, this guy, I couldn't believe it, and I was sure that if I go to her Facebook and I start to like things that she doesn't like, for example, all kind of the Democrat parties and all kind of,
Hmm.
I don't know. I made all kind of likes that I know for sure she doesn't like, and our conversations changed.
Yeah.
She started to be like more, let's say, on my side, to see, it's incredible, and it was an experiment I did, you know, with my mom.
I did something similar with my parents. Mom and dad, if you're watching this, I'm
Yeah, sorry, mom.
sorry for doing this, but I opened their Facebook account. I'm not sure if it was my mom's or my dad's, but I went through and I looked at all the different groups that they belong to.
Yeah.
And some of these groups were like very questionable, right? I just unfollowed the groups. And sure enough, since that point, I've noticed like a decline in the sort of like temperature of our
Yeah, yeah.
conversations.
Yes.
Whereas, before it was like they were turned up to a level 10 and you had to really carefully sort of, move around certain topics. And yeah,
Think about it. That's insane.
I think our minds can be hijacked. And I think that the metaverse, if it's not somehow, if it's controlled by a single
Completely.
or a few entities, it's going to get problematic, I think, very quickly, because
There's a group already. There's a group already that it's like they're trying to make it, open and whatever, but it's working already. There's a group, and they are doing all the rules that we are going to follow.
a group that's making all the rules for, who is this group?
It's let me check if I can find.
I
I
hope it's
don't
not the
think
World
so.
Economic Forum.
No, 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 no.
Shout out to all my forum friends and former colleagues.
The Metaverse group. Uh, Metaverse group. Metaverse group.
Oh, the Metaverse group. There you go.
Yeah.
About the Metaverse group. Well, how do we know that we're
You
down
can.
with the things that they're proposing?
Yeah, and you can partner with them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's. I don't know. You see? So they're trying to do moves because this is gonna happen.
I think what we need is a decentralized, autonomous society, right? I think uh, that would consist of like,
Peter, your ideas are so radical. It's like,
Well,
How
there's
we're
got to be
gonna do
some.
that? How we're gonna do that,
There's
man?
there's got to be a governance layer, right? That is sufficiently decentralized. It's not going to be every single person on the planet like deciding on like, okay, should we approve the funding for, this new, spacecraft that's going to go. There needs to be some scope for people to just be engaged in the things that they're interested in, but for not allowing a concentration of power in the form of like whales or, you know, corporates or political parties that are sort of able to shift the scales and kind of drive things in certain directions, right? So I think it's not about getting everyone on the earth represented, but it's about bringing the overrepresentation of like really concentrated economic power and equalizing that with all else.
Okay,
And
that's
a
a
metaverse that's I think absolutely what you need for the rules of the road in a metaverse. Like for example, like how many like ads are you going to embed in somebody's per minute in somebody's metaverse experience? Like there should
probably
be.
all the time.
Okay, but there should be people should be able to like opt out, right? And if they're opting in, then you're reimbursing them somehow. Like it just cannot be this sort of extractive, like we're gonna suck your life force, you're gonna all your data, everything about you, and we're gonna sell it, and then we're gonna like funnel all of that wealth to Facebook stockholders,
Yeah, but
or whatever.
when
We're
you
picking on
watch
Facebook.
YouTube, you have advertisement all the time,
I feel like the advertisements are getting more frequent. Now
and
they do it
also
in the
not
middle
they,
of the.
and also more than one.
Yeah.
Used to be one. Used to be, but they like money.
One of the things I always like before YouTube, before any of that, just watching regular old like cable television. I remember commercials would come on and I would have to mute the commercial or like skip the channel. Like advertising to me is so intrusive. It feels almost like you're being assaulted
It's
by like
very
somebody who's like trying to like tweak some kind of, ways that you think about things, and some are more obvious and sort of like infomercials. Those are ridiculous and they're annoying, but it's very clear, right? But some advertising actually is, I think, a lot more effective, and maybe you don't really mind it as much. But the whole reason I went to like cut the cord and went to Netflix is there's a place I can pay like $10 a month and I don't have to look at any damn commercials.
yeah, yeah. But inside the movies, you have commercials. You don't notice them, but they are all around the movies. You're like looking at products all the time. They're using them. They are paid for to use them.
So that's an example of like
But it's
a
better.
metaverse that's like
It's gonna be like that.
all product placement.
Yeah. But everything is product placement. If you watch, I remember music videos used to be normal. Now it's just a long advertisement with music.
Yeah.
It's all there is. Let's don't talk about the awful music. But it's
And
fine. It's
and if
fine.
you're
It's
watching
fine.
this and you've already been assaulted by a few advertisers, our sincerest apologies, of course. But
Okay. I think we need to finish.
okay, we're gonna
And
wrap this up and just say that you got some great ideas coming up for some podcasts and some shows that we want to episodes. But if any of you are watching this and have some ideas of things that you want to hear two random dudes over 40 talk about, just put it in the comment section.
see you next time.
All right.